Back to our Sinister Sisters podcast. This is episode 6. I am Bree with Ash,
Hello.
and today we are talking about a very heavy one, a very passionate one. I feel like I'm going to get passionate in this one.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about the death of Kendrick Johnson. For those of you who don't know, Kendrick Johnson, he was a 17-year-old high school student, and he was found dead, rolled up in a gym mat in a high school in Valdosta, I think is how you pronounce it, Georgia. This
Yeah, I
happened
think
in,
so.
yeah, this happened in January of 2013, and I remember hearing about this more recent for some reason. I thought this happened more recent, but there's a lot with this case. I don't think it's one that's ever going to go quiet, so maybe that's why I remember hearing about it more recently. But just to that's just the overall, he was a 17-year-old high school student and found rolled up in a gym mat, which is not something you hear every day. And they are ruling this death as accidental, which I don't know how you personally get rolled up in a gym mat by accident. That's just my personal opinion. But just to start it off, so this was in January of 2013. This was January 11th. So Kendrick he had never came home. He had a curfew of 10 p.m. and he never made it home. And obviously, as a parent, you're going to worry and say, "Where's my child?" And it was also very unlikely, according to his parents, for him to not be home even before 10 p.m. So, of course, they're worrying. Mom and dad called the police. Well, dad was away from work. He was a truck driver. So dad was not home at the time. But mom did call the police and reported him missing. And they filed a report, whatever, and just basically say the same thing that every cop says. Oh, they're probably out partying. Oh, they're probably with friends. And unfortunately, that was not the case. So the next morning, and I love this because mom was on it. Mom went to the school. Mom was out there handing flyers, asking, have you seen Kendrick? And unfortunately, while she is doing this, Kendrick was discovered in the gym by students and by other faculty that was in the gym. So basically, they just saw his feet hanging out of the mat, one of the students, and then unfortunately, when they investigated more, they found Kendrick. Unfortunately, he was dead. So while mom is outside, talking to people, asking where Kendrick is, the whole time he's in the gym, unfortunately, passed away. And while this is going on, I don't have an exact number of how many minutes, but mom did not find out right away that Kendrick was in the gym, passed away. If anything, mom found out through like chitter chatter of other students talking about it that were like passing by. So mom was never officially pulled to the side and said, "Hey, like we found Kendrick, he's in the gym." She just overheard other students talking about it, which is a terrible way to find out that your son has passed away. But also, when, she goes inside and goes near the gym, they don't let her in. When the police get there and everything. She was not able to identify Kendrick's body in the gym. She says this herself. There is a documentary on this. I think you could find it on Tubi. I did watch it. So this is all coming directly from mom. I mean, she admits, she's like, "I was never able to go into the gym. They were never able to let me see his body." But they did let Kendrick's sister, go in, but she was asked to confirm if there was a pair of shoes that was Kendrick's. So sister also admits that on the documentary, which is weird. I don't know why they would keep mom away. I mean, I understand there's probably a lot of emotion and it's probably not the prettiest sight, but that's just a little odd. So, also, it was also noted, like when I was looking up facts on this, I guess it was students had said that it was known that other students in the gym would put their shoes by the mats. So they did find his shoes. They weren't obviously on him, but I guess that was a thing according to students, that there is shoes commonly placed by the gym mats. As for why they would just ask the sister to confirm the shoe, I don't know. I wasn't there. I think that's personally weird, but that just sounds like a whole mess and just unprofessional in my opinion. But that is that. So they find the body, and just not a pretty scene. There are pictures of this. I didn't want to bring them up just due to it's very graphic. And if you do watch this documentary, which I highly recommend watching it. I think people need to know about this. It's very graphic
Yeah,
and
sorry, can I cut in for a second?
Yeah, yeah.
The documentary is called Finding Kendrick Johnson.
Yes.
Also, that's the
And
name of the document.
yeah, and I watched it on Tubi. I think that's the only place. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure everybody has Tubi, so I would just recommend watching it on there.
So, when the students and the teacher found Kendrick's body, his body was positioned. Well, the position of the body, it would become one of the most debated aspects of this case. Kendrick's body was found, they said, one said upside down, his feet near the top of the mat, and his head at the bottom of the mat. And one shoe was reportedly beneath him, which in the crime scene photos, you see Kendrick's legs and stuff. Like, you could see them. Like, if you look into the mat, you can see them. But there's a pair of shoes that is literally shoved behind his kneecaps.
Yeah.
So, there was that, and then it was said that when they moved the mat, his head was laying in a puddle of blood and vomit. They said there was no signs of a struggle, no defense wounds, and no indication that anyone was involved in this. They said that he literally, I guess, got stuck, and his death was ruled as accidental asphyxiation.
Can I cut in real quick?
Yes.
So I just want everybody to imagine a gym mat, like at your school, just a rolled up gym mat. So they're trying to say that this man accidentally fell into the hole of the top of the gym mat. So it's standing up. So they believe that he accidentally fell into the hole of a gym mat. I just want to know who, number one, fits into a gym mat. And why would that... all right, I'm going to go off, but just picture that. They're trying to say that this man fell into a gym mat hole and then somehow suffocated and accidentally died.
Right.
So just...
Okay,
that's
so
what they're trying to say.
also, imagine, so the mats were at least 6 feet tall and 3 feet wide, and when the mats were rolled up, they were measured at 13 inches wide, and it was said that Kendrick's shoulders measured at 19 inches wide, and he was roughly about 5 foot 10 inches. Now,
Falling into the hole of the gym mat. Sorry.
Right. No, you're good. They're saying that it's possible that he did get stuck in the mat if he put his arms up and scrunched and shoved his way in. Sorry, I had to do that to show you. I don't know if you saw or you could see. I'll do it again. Sorry. So I will show you. They're saying if he went like this and scrunched together, he stuck his arms in the mat and he got stuck.
Trying to say dude dolphin dove into the top of the mat for fun.
Right.
By accident. It makes sense.
But The reason why he threw his shoes in, the students would put their stuff in gym mats. I don't know if we said this. They didn't want to pay for a locker
Yeah.
to put their stuff in. Okay. So they said he got stuck and he suffocated. The police said that, but other students that were interviewed and questioned would say that the students would tilt the mats down and then retrieve the items that were inside of the mats. So it wouldn't make sense for him to climb into the mat.
There's no way you fit anyway.
No.
Even if you wanted, even if you were like, hey, for fun, let me dive in this hole. There's no way. And
Right.
I wish I had the picture to show you guys, but you guys can look this up. And if you do watch the documentary, I mean, you'll see everything. There's just no way, in my personal opinion, that a
No.
grown 17-year-old man would fit into the hole of a gym mat.
And there was like things that were weird because so there was the pool of blood outside of the mat near Kendrick's head. And it had blood and vomit, but there was no blood or vomit on the mat. And then there was a shoe that was outside of the mat that looked like it was placed there, but that had no blood or vomit on it either. So that raised questions of how did the other shoe get there?
Yeah.
Especially if the mat was that tightly wrapped. And they said that the mats were so light that you could just push them down. Shoes that were found behind Kendrick's knees were actually Kendrick's shoes. They were confirmed by his mom. They were shoes that he would switch into for gym. There was other belongings found outside of the mat that did belong to Kendrick, a book and a yellow folder. There was also another pair of gray and black shoes that were near a bleacher and a hoodie that both had red splattered stains on it. There was a wall near the bleacher too that had blood splattered stains on it too. But the blood splatters on the wall did not match Kendrick's DNA, so they did not test it because they said there was over 3,000 people in the school that they would have to test. So to me, that just shows that you're being lazy and you don't want to do your job. If you can't test the 3,000 people to figure out whose blood it is. They never bagged the sneakers and they never bagged the hoodie. They just left them there and they never found the owners of either of them.
Can I just add something real quick?
Yes.
I'm just thinking, was there nobody else around to hear him or to hear the mat fall? So I'm assuming, well, there was like nobody around, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, nobody knew he was in there. Don't you think there would be at least another body, another soul around?
Right, especially if there's all these belongings.
Yeah, so let's just play with the idea of, oh, he accidentally fell in the hole of a gym mat. Nobody was around to hear him. Nobody was around to hear the mat fall down. Nobody, like, there was just nobody there at all. He was by himself and just dove into a gym mat.
Right.
Yeah, just, that's a little odd.
So this all raised questions to multiple people, including the family, that the death was ruled and deemed too quickly as an accidental asphyxiation. They felt like there was more, so they brought an official in to like look at photos from the crime scene, and they said everything that was there should have been bagged and should have been tested, including the blood on the wall, because whoever worked in that gym wouldn't have left that just on there. They wouldn't just leave blood splattered on the
Right,
wall.
that's what I'm saying. There's nobody else in this building that checked the gym or was around to see
Right.
this.
But according to officials, they claim that the blood that was splattered on the wall has been there for a while. So once again, like, that's weird because why are you not cleaning
Nasty as hell.
blood? And it was said by the ex FBI agent that was viewing these photos and stuff like that, that blood splatter did not come from a scrape or a cut. Even though it was an athletic gym, like there was no way that much blood. Because if you look at the photos, it's like literally like the only way I can explain it is if you take a paintbrush and you have paint on it and you fling it and you see the blood just like the paint trickling down. That's what the blood looked on the wall. So this is another thing that was very strange. So according to the Georgia law coroner, Bill Watson, he should have been notified immediately, but he said he wasn't notified until 6 hours later. Bill said he was only questioned because he was not on the scene, but he wasn't notified right away. He said law enforcement was not cooperative with him and that his body was moved and the scene had been compromised. So, already there, if the coroner is saying that he wasn't notified for 6 hours later, like, there's already something going on here.
Also, I'm just wondering why he was so bloody if all he did was suffocate.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a professional, but I just don't know why you would be. And like I said, you guys could see the pictures if you Google them or watch the documentary. He was his face was very messed up, and there's blood. I mean, I just don't know why there would be so much blood if all he did was suffocate in a mat.
Right. So January 14th of 2013, Lowndes County officials, Kendrick's body showed no injuries in the autopsy. There were no marks on Kendrick's body, but then there was said that there were small marks on, like, right here on Kendrick's fingers, like tiny little cuts. It looked like kind of like, what would you say, like not defense wounds. Yeah, defense wounds. I would think
Yeah, I
defense
mean,
wounds because if you're like fighting back.
yeah.
2nd of 2013, his death was ruled as an accidental asphyxia. 1 hour after ruling, Kendrick's family, friends, and civil rights all protested outside how no one heard him calling for help if he was stuck because people were in and out of the gym until 8 p.m. that day.
There you go.
Officials argued that the mats were so thick that it could block the sound. Kendrick's family asked Reverend Floyd Rose from the Christian Leadership Conference if he could conduct an independent investigation to the case along with lead investigator for SCLC. They agreed to take a look at Kendrick's case. The information from the paramedic contradicted what the law enforcement said. The paramedic report stated Kendrick's body was partially inside of the mat, but his head and his torso and his arms were exposed. This went against the officials' claims that his body was found upside down, completely stuck inside the mat. Paramedics also noticed bruising to his right jaw. No bruises were noted in the autopsy report. They said bruising came from the heart not pumping, or the officials claimed, the coroner said that these bruisings came from the heart not pumping and the blood settling in the body. So at this point, the family called another doctor, and his name was Dr. Anderson, to look at the autopsy report. Dr. Anderson had been in the field for over 40 years at that point and was happy to help the Johnson family. Anderson said Kendrick did not die of asphyxia because fluid would have had to be in his lungs. The autopsy didn't cite it that there was fluid found in his lungs, but they were found to be normal. If there was any fluids in the lungs, it would have made his lungs heavier. So fluid sitting in your lungs, it makes your lungs heavier. Anderson said that this was the first red flag to catch his attention and agreed to perform a second autopsy. On June 6th, a judge allowed permission for the family to exhume the body for a second autopsy. 8 days later, Kendrick's body was taken from the cemetery, and Dr. Anderson was in shock to find all Kendrick's organs were missing, and in their place was newspaper. Now, to me, that's just the biggest red flag.
Crazy.
Like, where's this man's organs?
Right. So, and I think the parents also filed a complaint, like a legal complaint against this. And of course, nobody was at fault because everybody gets away with everything in the
Right.
state of Georgia if you're white. But there's I don't have the exact wording, but basically the family was like, the one thing that I love about this family is they were filing claim after claim. They were filing. They were like, they tried. And I feel so bad because they got so much pushback. They got nothing. But they basically was, I don't have the right wording. Do you have it, Ash? They filed a complaint saying why, I don't want to make it sound so bland and so unprofessional, but why does he have newspaper in him?
Yes. They wanted to know why there was newspaper. So this is what the coroner had to say. He said the organs weren't sent to the funeral home because they were so decomposed and were destroyed through natural process. I don't think that's really what happened with the organs. We'll never know what happened with the organs, which is very sad.
Yeah.
The funeral home also said they received the body with no organs and replaced them with newspaper, and that this is a common practice while embalming. So this is coming from the president of the National Association of Medical Examiners. Dr. Gregory said he has never heard of this practice at all, of them replacing the organs.
Right, because I also saw something where it's common practice to use sawdust or cotton.
Yes, I saw that too.
So where they got newspaper from and why, I don't know.
I would say that they sold the organs, but that could just be me. That could just be me.
And this was quick. So, I mean, his body was found relatively quick. It was less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was just there for a while. I don't know the whole professionalism of that, but I feel like he was found so quick, there shouldn't be nothing wrong with the internal organs.
Right. Okay. So Dr. Anderson went on with the autopsy, looking for anything else that may have been overlooked before the family. While he's doing this, the family waited patiently to hear his findings. His reports indicated his death was blunt force. He begged for his death to be investigated as a homicide. Dr. Anderson agreed because Kendrick's injuries appeared to be inflicted by another person. Anderson also said officials agreed with the evidence or with his findings, but could not pursue charges because there was no evidence of a civil rights violation. Theory was that there could have been a fight in the gym, which Kendrick was most likely placed in a struggle hold by the person or persons who might have not intended to kill him, and that it probably happened very quickly. And
Right. So that leads into two suspects that were highlighted pretty clearly. So, the family believes, I guess prior to this, a little bit over a year before his death, he was having issues with a student on a school trip, and like I think it was on a school trip, and then the same student also was just known to like harass Kendrick, and they were always, I guess they were known to just always have issues, and his dad is an FBI agent, so that's fun to
yeah,
connect with. And just there's just no way. It looks like he was beat to death. So that's what I personally believe. I believe he was beat to death, whether it was accidental or not. He was killed and intentionally placed there. But the two
yeah,
main suspects that mom had pointed out, well, in the family, and there was lawsuits also for these two and 38 other people that they filed against 38 other people, which included the principal of the high school, these two, their brothers actually, these two brothers that the family believes are responsible for Kendrick's death, the coroner, and just like multiple faculty of the staff. And all of them came out innocent. Like nobody was held accountable. Everybody's good. There wasn't enough evidence to conclude that anybody was guilty. And unfortunately, the family ended up having to pay over $292,000 in legal fees back to these people for wrongly accusing them of Kendrick's death. So not only did you lose your child, you also have to pay all this money back. And it's disgusting and it's terrible. And the one thing in all of my research in this that I'm like so proud of the family is they, like I said, they were just filing left and right. They were trying to prove and trying to get so much, they were trying to get justice so bad, but like this, the whole state of Georgia is just so against them and so against rightfully investigating this case. It was just, it's just swept under the rug. It was just, oh, he suffocated in the mat and that's it. But there's just no explanation. I just think everything was just done so poorly.
right. I feel the same because, um, so at this point, they were saying that there was like over when they go to investigate and look at surveillance footage, there's like over an hour and some minutes of footage missing
Right.
from that day. Um, the way like the cameras are and how certain cameras take like I don't know if you guys know, but like there's certain cameras that take like timestamps. So it's like a photo and it's a still photo. So they got a couple of those photos of, Kendrick moving through the hallways and, they said there was like no indication or anything that made it show that Kendrick was arguing or fighting with anybody. He was walking down the hallway and was making his way to the old gym. So there's two gyms there. There's a newer gym and then the old gym is more of the athletic gym. And that's where Kendrick was going because his shoes in the mats. Um
And conveniently enough, there's no cameras where his body was found.
to the footage of when this happened, they had an official come in and look at all the the footage from that day, and the expert said that they were not the original files from the cameras. And that's something that an investigator should not rely on, is the footage that they have there, that the footage was altered in a number of ways, primarily in image quality and likely in dropped information. Information lost there were a number of files that are corrupted because they were not processed correctly and they weren't playable. So they couldn't tell you why it was done that way, but it wasn't done correctly.
Yeah.
And there was lots of missing, so they could work what was there.
And I also heard that CNN got a hold of this forensic surveillance, and a video analyst reviewing the footage, I guess, reported gaps in certain areas of the recordings, and they just attributed it to being technical issues.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So there was 4 cameras. There are 4 cameras in the gym that records motion from when the lights turn on in the morning until when the lights are turned off at night. Except for the area of interest, that first camera captures images from the start of the day until, so this is where the times start glitching. So it picked up from the start of the day until 12:04 p.m., then nothing, and then picks back up at 1:09 p.m. Now that's one camera. Then the second camera is up until 11:05 a.m., then it stops and picks back up more than 2 hours later at 1:15 p.m. The third camera drops at 11:05 a.m. and picks up at 1:16 a.m. And then the final camera, there's surveillance until 12:04 and no recorded for more than an hour, and then it picks back up at 1:09 p.m. The video analyst said that there should be some record of that activity, but there's none. He said it was very suspicious that that the time is not there from all the cameras.
Right.
They were said that the technology people gave an external hard drive to the investigators, and Kendrick was seen entering the gym at 1:28 p.m. But the way that the timestamps and stuff were, like, because of the still pictures, it was said he entered the gym at like 1:10, 1:15, but he actually did enter the gym at 1:28. It's like a whole thing, and I'm still trying to understand it, but I'm not into that type of technology. But at approximately 1:25 p.m., Kendrick enters the C Wing near the school's foreign language classroom, where he was seen walking by himself and carrying a yellow folder. Then he turns to B Wing, near the B Wing stairs, and walks past all the offices and administration. He doesn't stop and talk to no one, and no one appears to be following him, or it doesn't appear to be following him or anyone himself. The last timestamp video of Kendrick shows him opening the doors to a hallway that leads to the old gym at 1:28. So this is him going into the gym at 1:28. So the picture, or the rest of you would have to look at the crime scene photos. It just shows, like, it like takes the still photos of him like a picture of him outside of the gym, like walking in, and then inside of the gym walking, if that makes sense to you. So there's like a 10-minute gap between the still image in the case files that show him outside the door to the old gym at 12:59, and then another still image that shows him inside the gym at 1:09. So I'm not exactly sure how that works still. Um,
That's a lot of time, though, in my opinion. So you have
yeah,
over 1 hour missing on one camera and over 2 hours missing on another camera. That's a lot of time just to be a glitch,
right.
in my
Because it was
opinion.
said that he entered the gym at 1:28. So like the time and there's a whole glitch. And there's like a whole thing that they say. It's like a whole thing. It's like it detects like a change in light and a student moves across the cameras. Um, the field, like the view of field or whatever, that it triggers the cameras to record, but it doesn't always record. And that the camera breaks each image into blocks and measures the number of blocks that change at any given moment. And a certain percentage of the blocks have to change before the camera starts to record. If a student walks directly in front of the camera, more blocks are changed because the student is occupying more of the image. If a student is further away, the number of blocks change may not hit the threshold to trigger the camera to start recording accordingly to the integral technologies documents. This explains why some of the students in the footage, if you watch the footage, appear and then quickly vanish out of the camera, is because I guess they're there and they move away quickly, and it's not, or if they're too far away, they're not picking up. It's not triggering for the cameras to pop a line. If that makes sense to you,
Yeah. I just feel like, regardless, that's too much time missing for it to not be sketchy or
right?
to be fishy. And also, just don't forget the two that are, and I'm just going to say, I don't know for sure. I don't know, but just the two that are accused, once again, the two brothers, their father is an FBI agent.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind.
Um. So the way that the camera was pointed in the gym, it was so like out of focus as it was pointed near the gym mats. If that is like somebody like made it out of focus, so it wasn't picking up anything. So Kendrick entering the mat, like near the mats, there was no footage that can defectively say how he died. There's no footage at all that shows Kendrick leaving the gym at any point. And from attendance records, it was said that Kendrick never made it to his fourth period class. It was marked absent. So, I mean, I would be very, like, that would all be alarming to me if he was, like, in the rest of his classes.
Oh, wait, so
Like,
he went into the gym before he. I thought this was at the end of the day.
no, this is before that he never made it to his fourth period class
And nobody saw his body until the next day?
until the next day.
Hmm,
Yeah,
interesting.
right,
So you have the initial autopsy report saying that he died from positional asphyxia. I probably butchered that, but um, just basically saying he suffocated in the mat. Then the parents hire another person to do another autopsy, and that person's like, no, he died from blunt force trauma or whatever. So there's that. And then on top of it, you have over 3 hours of surveillance camera footage missing.
right.
It doesn't add up.
So I don't know if you know, but like after they went through all these footage, the footage servers or the servers containing all this footage data and stuff like that was locked into a vault. And the only time they've ever been removed was when it's been requested by the Johnson family.
Hmm.
Did you know that?
Nope.
So that was given in research that we did. The family's attorney did request the images that showed Kendrick in the gym, and those images were given to the family. But after that, they were placed back into the vault. And I mean, there's all that footage missing, so there's nothing really they could, find what else.
Yeah.
Because the way the camera was positioned, it was so out of focus and positioned in such a way that you couldn't get any image showing the top edge. It like literally you couldn't even see the top edges of the mats.
Hmm.
Like it didn't even like there was like no timestamps or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's just interesting that his body was placed where there's no cameras.
right. Um, so like,
Do you want me to mention
yeah, you can.
the other attorney that the family hired?
Yes.
So this was in 2021, which is pretty recent. The family had reopened the case, I guess, and it was in March of 2021. They got granted permission to reopen the case. There was, I forget the name. The first name was Ashley. Do you have that in your notes, Ash?
Yeah,
The
Ashley
person.
Polk.
Yeah. So they hired this Ashley Polk to, I guess, reopen the case and work on it. And he offered $500,000 of his own personal money for a reward for more information in Kendrick's death. And unfortunately, he got nothing, no information. But after 13 months of reviewing the information of the investigation, he also concluded that there was no evidence to rule any foul play, and he just ruled it as a freak accident. So I think it's crazy that you go from offering $500,000 of your own money to for more information to just go from all of a sudden, never mind, like there's not enough information. He just died from a freak accident.
Right.
It just, I don't know. I just get the feeling that maybe he was scared, maybe threatened.
Yeah. So yeah, I strongly believe that because of these two. So the two kids, their names were Brian and Brandon Bell. Um, once the Johnsons had filed that lawsuit against them, the FBI did look into it. And they confiscated all of both of the brothers' electronics, one of the brothers' girlfriend's electronics, and the parents of the brothers' electronics. Um, Obviously, nothing happened because the mother of Kendrick, Jacqueline Johnson, did say that she reported that he was repeatedly harassed and attacked by one of the Bell brothers. And this happened with Brian Bell, and they got into an altercation on the bus. Brian grabbed Kendrick by his dreadlocks and like shoved and pushed his head down, and a fight escalated. So they are thinking that because Kendrick, I guess, fought back, that the brothers attacked. But it's like very crazy because during that time they were on their way to a basketball game, and Brian got to stay at the game with his family to watch the game, and Kendrick was driven home in a deputy's car.
Yep. Sounds right. Unfortunately.
It was also reported that one of the brothers were seen walking around with, it looked like blood on his upper right arm that day. But it said that their surveillance did not show either of the Bell brothers entering or exiting the gym at all during that day. And it was said that one of the brothers were not even on campus when Kendrick was last seen alive, and the other one was in a totally different part of the building. And that he said that he was good friends with Kendrick. So both of the brothers did not want to talk to nobody. They kept on denying like interviews and questioning, and then one day they decided to do an interview with the news, which if you watch the interview, you could see Brian and smiling, and it looks like he was like chuckling, and then Brandon laughing in it. And he was saying that he wasn't there or nowhere's near Kendrick, didn't see him at all that day. And that they're praying for the family, that they get justice. And to me, that's just a bunch of baloney.
And then you got that court money though.
Right.
When you got part of that $290 something thousand back.
Right.
Yeah. I
That
mean
he
whether it was the brother, whether it was them or not, somebody killed him.
Well, so as you brought off Sheriff Polk, when they were doing like more investigating, there was a redacted confession by Brian saying that I guess it was because of there was raw footage that was not seen that they somehow got a hold of that was seen, and it was showing Brian and Kendrick in the same hallway walking together. Like, I don't know if they were walking together, but they were like right near each other walking. So that totally redacted his whole confession, saying that he was nowhere near or had not seen him at all that day.
Yeah.
Also, during this time, there was a third autopsy done. The same findings were that it was blunt force trauma, and it was blunt force trauma to the neck. Yeah. It was blunt force trauma, and then there was another part, I can't pronounce it. It was another part of the neck, and that's why there was like so much blood and stuff like that. But during this time, the Johnsons got an email. This is kind of all over the place, I'm sorry. So the Johnsons received an email that there was one of the brothers, or it didn't say in the video who it was, but they were recorded secretly saying that they killed him, that he didn't deserve it. It was an accident.
Oh shoot, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the Johnsons paid $1,000. $1,000 for this recording. And the officials were saying that, oh, sorry, it was his right thorax, the right neck and the right thorax, that it was blunt force trauma and it was non-accidental. But the recording was of someone saying that they didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. He was a good person. And then the officials were saying like they couldn't use that because it was like a rumor.
Terrible.
So,
This family has been going through so much. They have just just somebody please believe them that there is a, well, I believe that it wasn't an accident. But they're just wanting somebody to say, "Hey, there's another possibility. This was not an accident." And they know it wasn't an accident. But just no matter what they do, they just never get any good news. It always goes back to the same thing.
yeah, it's literally like the worst thing ever because there was so much evidence and things like that, and these officials, like, somebody was either threatening them because multiple people that were working on this case as well kept resigning.
Yeah.
Like they were being like threatened or
Because I know there
something.
was another attorney that the family hired that was out of state. I think it was South Carolina.
No, there was
And,
one from Ohio.
oh,
Oh
okay.
wait, no, I think you were right. There was one from South Carolina, but after that guy and one of the people from Georgia, they both resigned, and then the case was transferred all the way to Ohio to a
Yeah.
person out there to look at it.
I know there was somebody that they hired, but the state of Georgia declined their license to be an attorney in that state.
Mm-mm-mm. Um, sorry. I just think like everybody still believes that the Bell brother had something to do with it. There was multiple magazines that did articles on these cases. Brian Bell was getting a sports scholarship to Florida State University, but it was revoked. The officials never named the brothers as suspects in the death of Kendrick, and no charges against them have ever been filed.
To this day, there is no suspect. Nobody was ruled a suspect.
No. Um, Kendrick's case, as of 2021, no charges have ever been filed in the death of Kendrick Johnson, but I'm pretty sure his case is still open.
I hope it is. But
And his
unfortunately,
family, sorry,
no, you're good. Go ahead.
his family is still seeking answers, and they remain hopeful and optimistic for the future.
Yep, that's crazy.
I just feel like he was definitely murdered by these two brothers.
Yeah, somebody. I mean, it's easy to think them, of course. I mean, obviously there was issues in the past between them with fighting and everything. And then just the cherry on top that your dad is an FBI agent, and then you have this surveillance camera footage missing. It's I don't know. Some regardless,
I
I
mean,
do believe he was killed.
the way they were smiling and stuff like that on camera is like, it was just like, yeah, we got away with it. Nobody believes. Or, I don't know. It's just like they're smiling, and I feel like they're like, yeah, I got away with this. And my dad's an FBI agent, and all these people are going to be like threatened to like stay off this case.
Yeah.
Like, they really think they got away with it.
You got to point out you also got to point out the fact that Kendrick was black and these two boys accused were white, and you're in the state
Right.
of Georgia.
That's
I
true. And
mean,
there was said that there was a girl there too. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. There was a girl and then one other person
where at? In the gym?
in the gym at the time of his death. That's what they believe.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's no way that he's the only person in a whole gym in a high school, especially if you're saying it was at 1 something p.m.
Well, I met with the Bell brothers, and um, it was like the Bell brother, like the girl lured Kendrick to come to the gym.
Oh, okay. That's definitely a possibility.
Right.
Yeah, I think just I guess before we go into like asking people their opinions, if anybody wants to comment or chime in, just a little recap. Also, if you're just coming in on the live, so we're talking about Kendrick Johnson, a 17-year-old high school student who was found rolled up in a gym mat, deceased. This was in January of 2013. Investigators ruled that this was an accidental death, that he died from positional asphyxia.
Hmm.
So that was autopsy number one. Autopsy number two declared that he died from blunt force trauma. Why didn't autopsy one reveal that?
Right.
Autopsy number three revealed blunt force trauma. Why
It
didn't
was right
autopsy
neck.
number
Yeah, the right neck and the right thorax.
right? Why didn't autopsy number one reveal that? Then you have multiple hours of surveillance camera footage missing. Then you have the two suspects who are brothers who are white, and their dad is an FBI agent. So to this day, we are over 10 years from this. Nobody has been accused. Well, nobody has been found guilty. Nobody has been found to be. There has been no suspects, and it has just been ruled an accidental death.
Yeah, and there's like um, over an hour, like on some of the cameras it said 2 hours of images that were not accounted for.
Yeah, which is weird. And they're trying to say it was due to like a glitch or whatever.
Yeah.
That's we're talking hours of footage. Like, okay, a little glitch here and there, but you're talking about over hours, three
And they had
hours
an
worth of
expert,
footage.
yeah, an expert look at it, and even the expert said that the cameras were messed with and they were redacted and altered, and they weren't the original files, and that it was very suspicious, and anybody should have been suspicious of it.
Yep. Then you had multiple attorneys look at this case, and
Hmm.
some agreeing that there was basically that it was fishy. They don't believe that it was accidental. And then
Right.
all of a sudden it's, oh no, I agree, it's accidental. You can't
Yeah.
help but wonder, were they threatened? Were they scared? They're just, I just can't believe that everybody that had a part in this case just believes that this was accidental. Then you have that Ashley Polk, who was another attorney who offered $500,000 of his own money for information for this case, which gives me, which makes me believe that he believed that it was also not an accident. To put up that kind of money, I would think that you also agree that there's something more to it and you want more information than just for the outcome to be, no, it was a freak accident. There's not enough evidence to prove otherwise.
Yeah, and I don't feel like the gym mats, I mean, yeah, they're like thick padding, but I don't think they're blocking out a sound of somebody stuck in a mat and calling for help. I don't think they're
Yeah,
blocking any
or
type of
you would
sound like
hear
that.
it. You would hear it fall over, I would also think.
And if they were like, if you could push them and they would fall right over because they were that light, he definitely was not stuck upside down in the mat. His body would have fell over,
I
made
just
the
don't
mat fall
believe
over.
I just don't think you could fit there in the first place.
Oh no,
There's no way you could
no,
fit. So they're trying to
not
say
those.
that he reached for a shoe that was in the mat. I guess he was going to reach for his shoe. That's the story. That's what they think. Investigators believe that he was reaching for a shoe inside the mat and he fell in the hole and got stuck. I feel like, okay, yeah, maybe your head could get stuck, but not, I mean, I guess maybe, but his whole
Mm,
body was in there.
right, especially with the measurement of it being 13, I think they said inches wide, and his shoulders were 19 inches wide. Like his upper body was too big to fit in there. And even if like squeezing, and like the cops kind of said, he would have to have been like scrunched his body together to squeeze in. I don't think that happened either.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall, I do believe he was killed. Whether it
He
was
was
an
definitely
accident or
murdered.
not, he was killed.
Yeah, I believe he was murdered, and um, he deserves justice. And them two boys are out there living their life, and they know exactly what happened. And shame on his father and whoever who messed with the camera footage. Um, just because you're an FBI agent doesn't mean you protect your children from killing somebody. That's not how the
I
world
think,
works.
and there's racism, I'm sure, involved.
Oh, definitely, definitely. There were so many things I heard from this. Like I heard the one thing, it was like Kendrick was like talking to one of their girlfriends and they were mad about it or something like that, but like at a party or something, but I don't know. I just know it's sad because his family said that he was a very like happy, outgoing kid. He was very athletic, very joyful to be around. He loved his family. Even his teacher said that. So like, I don't know. It
Yeah,
definitely had something to do with. I feel like it definitely had something to do with race.
right.
Um, because he got into a fight with one of the brothers, and I feel like it was them trying to get revenge back. And they had that girl lure him in, or they just went in, even if that part wasn't even true about a girl luring him in.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe even if they did go in to just, they were beating the crap out of him and then they ended up killing him, but they weren't meaning to kill him. I just feel like something happened and they need to come forward. And we need to bring this case to light. Like this poor family needs justice for their child.
Yeah. And they're so
And you know
brave.
what the
They're so
mess
brave for doing what they did.
the this is another messed up thing. So when it came to the time when Kendrick would have been graduating with his class, the school refused to do a memorial for him during the graduation.
Because he's black and he's in Georgia. Well, I did a little I just like randomly just Googled because I just wanted to see if it was like a primarily white town. It does say that's 50 over 50% of African Americans live in Valdosta, if I'm saying that right. And then it was 30 something percent white people, and then it was 6% Hispanic. But regardless, it's everywhere. Racism is everywhere.
Right.
And you just can't help but think that it's that. I mean, unfortunately.
Right. It's very. This whole case has been very sad. Um, I wouldn't even know like how I literally would be doing the same thing that the parent would do. I'd be fighting every day, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit.
His
Like
family went in. I mean, they are so brave and strong. And even to do the
I
whole documentary,
yeah.
they
And
fought for
like
him.
they they were fighting. And that it still makes me like and I understand like okay, maybe because they didn't want the mom to like break down in the gym, but like having his sister identify
A shoe.
a shoe.
Right.
Like you didn't even have the mom come in and identify. And I get it because the way his probably because of the way he looked. But still, like, that's her child.
Right. And I
Like her
just love
child's
that the mom.
missing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love that the mom was there the next day. Like, hey,
Right.
have you seen Kendrick? Have you like that's
She was
awesome.
handing out flyers and
She
everything.
was there. Yeah, like I don't know. I just the
She was
family really
there.
went in for him. And I'm sure they're not stopping,
No.
which is why we need to keep talking about him in this case. And I hope that something they get some sort of information.
Right. And I'm sure we did not cover every inch of detail and every inch of detail, every part of the evidence, everything that happened in this case. So if you go and watch, or if you find a page that his parents have made for him, like you can find everything. Like we got what we got and put together. We did a lot of research on this case, and this case was it's a very hard case. It's very, very sad. And seeing the pictures, it was very hard looking at those pictures.
Oh my
So,
God, it was terrible.
if you don't have the stomach, do not look it up. Or whatever. I don't know.
Watch the
I don't know what to
documentary,
say.
please.
Um, but yeah, it's very sad. Like, I, and I honestly feel like if I was the mom, I probably wouldn't have wanted to see him like that,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Do you
And
want me
like,
to
why
close?
didn't they clear the kids out of the gym right away?
I don't know. Do you want me to close this out for YouTube purposes? And then we can send you a TikTok real quick.
Yes.
Okay. So I just also disclaimer, Ashley and I are not professionals. We were not there. We understand that we were not there. We just wanted to talk about this and spread awareness to this. And we hope, obviously, all the best. But just a disclaimer, we are not professionals. We understand that we are not, and we understand that we were not there. Just want to throw that out there. For YouTube watchers, Spotify watchers, listeners, all that, Amazon, thank you for listening. And we will see you next Wednesday. Do you want to
Right. Goodbye.
say your
Oh
little
wait,
thing?
I'm sorry. Before we say goodbye, remember always, don't be a sad bitch, be a bad bitch.
Hey.